It all started about an year ago when I posted a pilau recipe, and one of my subscribers said that pilau has to be eaten with a banana. Then the next time I made some pilau, I had to include the banana in the recipe, but the problem was I did not know at what particular point someone eats the banana while eating pilau. And today evening, someone mentioned that the banana is eaten together with the pilau, just like an avocado. So guess what? Today we are preparing some pilau, and I'll start off by preparing some fresh kachumbari. And this particular recipe is a banger. You should try out this particular kachumbari recipe, and if at all you ever find a better recipe than this, please let me know. So with me, I have my few ingredients, and I have an onion, I have some tomatoes, I have my pepper, and I'll come back to this in a few. I have my coriander, and I have some salt, and also you'll need some hot water. And without further ado, let's get started. So just to save up on time, we'll start by preparing our onions because they take the longest. And for the onions, you need to cut them like this. When you start here, unamalizia hapa juu. Don't make a full complete ring. So just like that. So this is what you have. And yeah, it's kind of like we are making long strands of onions. Yeah. Then I'll just show you once more. Like that. And like that, and make sure you slice them as thin as you possibly can. And the other way of how I like to do my onions, you just take your onion, slice it through halfway, don't make a complete cut. Then you can now cut as if you're making some onion rings. And just to mention, all my ingredients are well washed and dried. Please let me know bei ya vitu kwenye imepanda because I bought this particular onion at 15 shillings. That's too much. Now that we have our onions, I'm going to add them in here, and to remove the smell of the onions while you eat so that usibaki na harufu mbaya, just add a generous amount of salt, probably more than you would need. Then this is where our hot water comes in. Then I'm going to let this soak for about 5 to 10 minutes, and after that you'll be guaranteed that the pungent smell of the onions will be gone. Then let's come to my tomatoes, and we'll first start by removing this top part. Then for the tomatoes, you also want to slice them like the onions, making them as thin as you possibly can. So the technique that you're using here is ukianzia hapa, you finish like this, and when you start here, you come like that up. So do not make a complete ring with this also, like that and that. So I hope you are clear, and I'm going to slice my remaining. And also another secret while making this particular recipe, slice everything as thin as you possibly can, and I guarantee you that this is the best recipe that you'll ever come across. Then we are going to add them into our dish. Then let me talk about this pepper. This is a jalapeno pepper, but you can also use the normal pepper. I just happened to have this, and it was frozen, and after defrosting it, that's why it looks like that. And for the pepper, you also want to make sure that you cut it as thin as possible. That will give you the kapiripiri kwa umbali. So kapiripiri kwa umbali isn't just pepper in food. It means that, okay, there is some pepper, but you cannot really see the pepper, but you can feel the heat. So I do not want to see any particular kachumbari with some very huge chunks of pepper. Then just like that, this is what you want. Then for the coriander, we are also going to chop it as thin as we possibly can, and that is the major secret while making this particular recipe. Everyone will ask for your recipe, and they will want to know how you did it. So that's pretty much it. We are going to leave this behind for garnishing. So mix this to evenly distribute the pepper. Then I'm going to set it aside and wait for a couple of minutes so that our onions can be ready. So this is about 10 minutes later, and I'm here to check on my onions. You can see that they've softened, and that's a good sign. You can also see that the water is kind of changing its color. It's becoming somehow purple, and that's also a good sign. And you can also smell that the water smells like onions, and that means that the smell of onions has now been transferred to the water. So I'm going to rinse this off, then I'll be back. Then we are going to soak it again in some hot water. Now for about 2 more minutes, just to remove the remaining smell that has been left. 2 more minutes later, and I'm going to strain off this water. Then I'm going to run it through cold water for about 2 minutes, literally 2 minutes, and that's going to help in rinsing the water that we have right now and also the excess salt. So do not skip out on that part. Then now our onions are good to go, and at this point you'll need a clean towel, or you can also use the paper towel, and we are going to pat them dry. And the logic behind this patting is once we add salt into our kachumbari, the tomatoes are going to start dehydrating. So if you do not pat them dry, the water is going to mix with the good sauce of the tomatoes, and hako ka soup ka tomatoes kana kwa na utamu, you're going to dilute the utamu, and that's not good. Then we are going to add them there. Then we are also going to dry this. And by now our onions taste better, so you can eat as much as you want, hautabakia na harufu. Then let's mix this. And you can see there's a good balance of the onions and the tomatoes and the greens. Then we are going to add some salt. Just add some salt to your liking, kidogo tu. Then we are going to mix this. Then if at all you're feeling fancy, feel free to add some black pepper, but we like keeping it simple in this channel. So we are just going to leave it like that, and we are going to taste if anything needs to be adjusted. This is legit. So just to put the icing on the cake, we are going to transfer it into a container. Then if at all you have some cling film, feel free to use it. Since I ran out of cling film and I hadn't noticed that, I'm going to put it like that, just as it is, and we are going to put it in the fridge for about 30 or so minutes. And in the meantime, let's start cooking our pilau, and please check out that recipe because it's a banger. And I'll be back to serve and taste while chilled, and it slaps very different when it is chilled. Right now it's like on a 99, but when chilled it goes to up to about 200, so don't skip out on that.